Hey guys, coming at you today with a recipe I have been working on since 2021. A super soft and pillowy fried filled keto donut. And I finally figured it out. So let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining me. My name's Alycia and I'm a pastry chef. I've been a chef most of my life and now I own a keto gluten-free bakery. And I'm here to show you all the tips and tricks on how to make the best recipes possible. If you enjoy these types of recipes and you want to continue seeing me, please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but helps me out a ton and I really appreciate it. Give the video a thumbs up or leave me comments and share with your friends or all of the above. It all helps my channel grow and to bring you new videos every Saturday. Today, a recipe I'm excited to have 8 more of, a delicious cream or jelly filled fried donut. And at the fraction of the carbs, calories, fat, everything as a regular jelly filled donut. To start out this recipe, before you even make the dough, I would make whatever jam filling you want. I have my jam video on my channel, so I'll link it up there for you. And I did some more calculations when I made my strawberry jam. So it's pretty thick. I did not strain the seeds out of it or anything, but I did puree it and it got super nice and thick. I measured out how much I used and then how much is left after it all cooked down. I used 16 ounces of strawberries and 3/4 of a cup of allulose, and that reduced by half. So this is only not even 10 ounces of jam, but it will be enough to fill all our donuts. So if you make my raspberry jam, just make sure you make at least 12 ounces of raspberries. And all I did was puree it with my immersion blender. I will link one below, but you can also use like a blender or Vitamix or something like that, or a food processor. I'm gonna keep this in the fridge until we need it. Alternatively, what my favorite thing is I did some whipped cream and added a couple tablespoons of jam to the whipped cream, and it was delicious. So that's another way to go too, because fruit is a little high in carbs, so that adds a carb to each donut. If you do a cream and jam, there are only 2 net carbs per donut. I will be figuring out a Boston cream or Bavarian cream filled donut. That is by far my favorite donut. And the last time I had it, I was in labor. I was like, there was a Tim Hortons downstairs and that was what I wanted. So I treated myself to a Boston cream donut. But before that, 2018, something like that. So definitely will be making those soon. I'm gonna start with getting my coconut oil in a pan, just because I'd rather have it on low heat, kind of almost ready to go when the donuts are ready. Because unlike regular donuts, we can't proof our dough because it gets too soft and like the gelatine-ness of our dough that is there initially breaks down when it sits for a long time. I still add the yeast to get that nice yeasty flavor, and I think it probably does help a little bit in the puffing of the donuts when we fry them. I am on my second tub, 56 ounces of a refined coconut oil. You do not want to use extra virgin coconut oil because the smoke point of extra virgin is really low, and you need the oil up to about 375, can even go up to 385. Even the refined coconut oil smoke point is 400. So you still have to be very careful not to go over the 400 degrees because it will get smoky in your house. I had that problem. So if you don't want to deal with that, you can use avocado oil, which has a even higher smoke point of like over 500 degrees. You're gonna need about half of this tub. I do suggest a wide pan instead of a deep pan because the donuts are only like that thick, but it's better to fry them all in like 2 batches instead of 1 or 2 at a time. Like, you don't need a super deep pan. This one here is only a couple inches. I'm just gonna put that on low heat to start melting. Now, I know my videos are long and lengthy, but I give you all the info. Because one of the biggest things when I started keto in 2020 was that recipes weren't thorough and they would mess up so easily on me. I looked up several keto fried donut recipes. I don't look up keto recipes unless I am completely stuck. And I was stuck back in 2021, and there was only one recipe out there, and there was no written recipe, just what she used in the video, and I started there, and I gave up. So I've probably done over 30, 40 tests on this recipe. Took a lot to get here, but I want to give you all the info so that you get the best recipes possible and they come out right for you every time. There have been new recipes posted since, and they all just looked super dense and not super soft and fluffy. And they didn't give information on the oil or the temperature or how many minutes to fry it and stuff like that. And that's really the hardest part of this. If you do it just like I do it, you'll have super soft and fluffy donuts. So all the ingredients in the dough is the same as a regular recipe, except for our flour mix is a combination of a couple things to give us the gluten-y feel of a dough. We're gonna start with 2 tablespoons of a granular bulk sweetener. Each tablespoon is supposed to be 12 grams. That first one was 13. So 2 tablespoons, 24 grams. And to that, we're gonna add 2 large eggs. So I've been weighing my eggs. This is the difference in size, but you need 100 grams or 2 eggs. That was 50 grams, so that was the right size egg. I'm gonna try to find another one similar size. Let's try this little guy. He was a little bit small, but we're at 98. Have that sit for now. Next, we're gonna get our milk, which most recipes called for whole milk. I just did half heavy cream, half water to make my own whole milk. And I just weigh it out because it is easier. So you need 4 ounces. So 2 ounces of heavy cream, 2 ounces of water. If you want your yeast to bloom, you need it around 100 degrees. So I'm gonna put this in the microwave for just like 10-15 seconds. I add a teaspoon of inulin. You can also add a teaspoon or 2 of honey or sugar or maple syrup if you want. I just have inulin on hand because I make a lot of my egg white bread. And then a teaspoon and a half of yeast. And I've just been putting it over by my stove where my coconut oil is melting away. Our last wet ingredient is butter. And this is in a regular recipe also. We just upped it a little bit. So we're doing 2 ounces of butter. And I use salted, so I don't add any salt to the recipe. You can add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt to the dry ingredients. We gotta melt that. And then just the dry ingredients. People always ask me, can I swap this for that? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? I don't like trying new ingredients very much because I want you to be able to make all my recipes without having to buy a bunch of extra ingredients. It took me a long time even to try the bamboo fiber that everybody was raving about. But I have found what gives a nice fluffy texture, and that's whey protein isolate. We need 40 grams, or it should be a half cup if I scoop it up and level it out. It's only 36. And that's why I just suggest weighing. I do have a scale linked in my Amazon shop that I like upstairs. This one I have some issues with. But the problem with not using a scale for this recipe is it might make your dough too sticky to work with or too stiff to work with. 66 grams of bamboo fiber. 1/3 of a cup is 22 grams. So be a cup. That was a little shy. I have used coconut flour in combination with bamboo fiber, and it does work if you want to replace some of the bamboo with coconut, but it will make the carbs higher in these donuts. I'm using beef gelatin, and beef gelatin does have a stronger gelling power than pork gelatin. Need 20 grams, which should be 2 tablespoons, which that's what I got. And I have tried this with oat fiber too in place of the bamboo, and that has worked also. I just didn't like it as much as with the bamboo fiber. We need 10 grams or 1 tablespoon of xanthan gum, and I'm using Anthony's xanthan gum, which I have found all xanthan gums have different gelling strengths. So 10 grams, that was exactly a tablespoon. Then the last ingredient is a tablespoon of baking powder. And I measure this out at 11 grams. Sometimes I would get 12, sometimes I would get 10. It's really hard to measure this because it's like super clumpy because this has potato starch instead of cornstarch in it. I think that's why it's more clumpy. Give those all a whisk, make sure they're really well combined. And the last couple ingredients is just some vanilla extract and our vinegar, which is gonna act with the heavy cream and give us a nice fluffy fried donut. So So we're just gonna whisk our sweetener and eggs, add our butter, add our bloomed yeast. We're just gonna add a half teaspoon of vanilla and 4 teaspoons of vinegar. Since you have a bunch of warm ingredients, that sweetener should dissolve pretty quickly in here. So you don't gotta mix it a ton. Before you add the dry ingredients, grab your scale back because we're gonna measure this out so we get equal donuts. Because if you do this perfectly, it just makes it so much easier with knowing when they're done. If they're all the same size, they'll all cook evenly and it'll be much easier to fry these guys up. So it's kind of a ball, all the rest of the dry in there. You want to whip this on high speed for a while because that xanthan gum, I've noticed that if you just mix it a little bit, it's not super thick. You got to keep mixing it to get all of the granules of xanthan gum like activated in there. You can do this with a hand mixer, but like I said, you want to get that really activated. So I've tried this with just like whisking it. I couldn't get the xanthan gum activated enough just by like hand whisking it. I did some plastic wrap and spray just to make cleanup easier for when we weigh this dough out. Looks good. It's forming a dough. Get all the dough off. And I just weigh the whole mass out and divide by 8 donuts. This does freeze great after being filled. Even the cream filled ones were good. I just put it in the fridge to defrost and they are best at room temperature. And I have jam filled donuts on my counter from like 2 weeks ago and they're still good. It was kind of just a test to see how long they would last. And they're not moldy or anything. So let's correct about 57 grams each. I'm going to spray my counter, spray my hands, get this a nice cohesive dough. There's a couple different ways you can do this. I found that if you cut them out with a cutter, they actually fry up a little bit better, but it's really hard to get them all the same size that way. At this point, I'm gonna make sure my oil is hot because we wanna fry these like right away. Talking about the oil again, I had this thermometer, which is specifically for like frying or candy making, clips to the edge of your pot. My oil kept getting smoky because it takes the temperature of the outside of the oil, but not the inside where it's the hottest. And I was going up over 400 degrees. I just end up using my laser thermometer over and over again. It's the best way and easiest way to get the temperature right on your oil. I like starting to fry them at 375. You can get it up all the way to 385, but try not to go below 365. I know it's complicated, but I'm just telling you the best way to do it. They'll turn out either way. I like doing it into a log. That way it's easier just to chop sections off. And I like to use my bench scraper, which I always forget to oil it and then it gets all sticky, but 57 grams. Wow, 56, I did pretty good. We can keep it at 56 too. Between 56 and 57. Too much. I used to be really good at this back when I had to cut 8-ounce portions of salmon. I got a couple there a little bit big. Want them nice and smooth all the way around. I like to just like kind of almost roll them so that you get like a nice smooth top. And then I just take a rolling pin and kind of roll it out. Try to get it round. And you want it the size of, I have a 4-inch round cutter, so I kind of try to get it there. I might cut these ones that were a little bit bigger because they were 59 grams. That way they'll cook better. So now it's only 52 grams. So that one might cook a little bit less. If anything, you want them smaller rather than bigger. So you don't want them getting too brown on the outside and not cooking in the middle. $54. So I'm just gonna keep rolling these out, get them all ready to go and fry all at the same time. I might actually need to add some more oil to this These do puff up quite a bit. I was having some that were like touching the bottom of the pan. They get kind of like dark spots on it. I do have a fried sour cream glazed donut, and I actually watched that video because I was interested to see my recipe then and kind of compare what I was trying to do now. And I mentioned in there that the 56-ounce container of Wegmans brand refined coconut oil was $10. Right before that, I had went to Walmart and bought the coconut oil, and I'm like, $20? That doesn't seem right. Like, I feel like it was way less than that back when I was doing other fried recipes. 4 years, coconut oil doubled in price. Unfortunately, frying in healthy oils is a little expensive. You want to kind of really just get these even thicknesses all the way around. Also, before this all gets ready to go, you want to have a plate ready to go to put these on with a paper towel to get the extra oil off. And also, I'm going to try dipping them right into some sugar to get like a sugared donut. Some of it actually like bounced back, it looks like. Alternatively, if you don't want to use jam, I did see Keto Focus has a recipe, and they used like some gelling agent to make like that gloopy like jelly that's in a regular donut. So you can check that out if you want. She just used like extract and coloring instead of real fruit. Okay, we're at 350, so we're almost there. And I always keep, I don't know if you can see it back here, a pan on the stove or a place for my spoon to go so I don't get oil everywhere. The moment of truth. Okay, we're at 360. I have time to wash my hands real quick. Then we'll get to frying these guys up. I got my sifted powdered and my granular sweetener here too. I also wanted to mention, if you don't like the cooling effect of erythritol, Bocha Sweet has the powdered, and I use this for like my Mexican wedding cakes and stuff like that. Crank up the heat a little bit. You do want it kind of high when you put all 4 donuts in at once, because the temperature is going to drop drastically when you put those in. So you definitely want high temperature. You want the heat on initially, and if it keeps climbing as you're cooking, then you can turn it down. I also suggest one of these thermometers. I found 210 is the perfect time to pull them off, and it also kind of doubles as you can like move it around a little bit to give yourself a little bit of extra room in there for the filling. And I'm also going to set my timer for 4 minutes. That's what I found was pretty much the perfect time. Now, do I remember to hit it every time? Nope. Okay. We're mostly all up to temp. So I'm gonna drop in 3 donuts, start my timer, and as soon as they pop up, I like to flip them, which I usually use, I don't know why I'm using that. That's not for that. Come on, flip. What's good to use here is chopsticks. That's what I've heard. We're at 390, so we gotta turn this down a little bit. And I keep flipping every so often. Found that it actually helps to keep flipping them. Keep checking your temperature. We're still a little high. Turning it all the way down completely. I might put another one in real quick to try and get the temperature down a little bit more. We're at 3 minutes, so. Okay, we're at 380, which is perfect. The temp is all the way down. Good to go. Got 2 minutes left. Probably start temping them at 3 minutes. Keep periodically checking the temp. If it's going down a lot, definitely crank the heat because it takes a long time for the oil to recover once it gets low. You gotta like really crank the heat up on it. And we're at about 3 minutes. Temp it. You can also kind of keep it frying a little bit. We're still at only like 180, so we're good. We're getting down to like 360-ish. Got 30 seconds left on the timer. I don't remember which one I tested, so. Okay, we're at 211. So let that go over there real quick. This also helps to flip them too. We're only at 208 on there. 1 more minute for this other guy that is in here. I'm gonna crank the heat up because I want to fry the next 4 and I want it at like 375. I'm going to dip one of these in here. Our powdered sweetener just doesn't act the same because we don't have cornstarch in our powdered sweeteners. Oh, sugar works better. Nice. He should be good to go. He's been in for 5 minutes now. He's good too. Okay, these guys in sugar. Ours doesn't really soak up a ton of oil, especially if you get it at the right temperature. I weighed them before I put them in like any kind of sugar or filled them or anything. And they only gained about 4 grams of oil. So not bad at all. This should be about the right temperature. Yep, 370. Fry our last 4. Drop them in. We're at 380, so I'm going to drop that next one in at 3 minutes left on the timer. Looking good. Just going to continue frying these, get them in the sugar, and then we'll get on to filling them. Also move it back and forth in there a little bit. Give it a little bit more room. That was only 3 minutes in there. They don't puff as much as I wish they would, but they're so soft and light in the middle when you bite into them. And we're good. Okay, oil off. Last one. Probably better just to put the lid on and shake them. They're like... Can't wait to eat more of these. Okay, now let's get a piping bag and I'll explain the best way to fill these guys. Okay, so to fill these guys, they do sell these little tips here. I don't find it much easier to use this than just using a small open tip, and I like to fill it from both sides anyways. This, I don't know, I feel like I don't know how much is going in because it's such a long tube. And this, I feel like I know what I'm doing and I can feel the pressure of the bag and how much to put in. So I think maybe it's just because I'm not used to using something like this, but I do suggest some kind of metal tip because you do need something able to like kind of pierce the outside a little bit and is kind of stiff and will stay in the hole. Because if you just try to use a piping bag, it's too flimsy to like get in the hole. I do like to use a coupling just because it helps keep the stabilization of it a little bit better. And you can also switch back and forth in between tips. If you want to try to use that one and you don't like it, then you can switch to this tip. I am going to get my scale over here just so I know how much I'm putting in. I kind of want to do some cream filled ones too. I'm going to start with the ones we did first because they're kind of cool now. So I go in and I just cut like little X's with a knife on both sides. If you don't want the jam to come out, you can twist and push it in or put it in something that it'll hold the tip closed till you're ready to use it. I was really surprised at how thick it got. You just gotta make sure to take your jam far enough. If you want to weigh it, that'd be an easy indication on if it was thick enough. But you want it really jam-like, and then once you puree it, it gets real thick. Then when you're ready to go, undo it. And you wanna do this slowly because it could burst on you. Like, see, it's going like crazy over on that side. I didn't even know it was filling that much. So 28 grams is an ounce, so pretty much what we got. A little bit less than an ounce. And when you're not using it, you can put it up like that. It'll keep it from oozing out. And also, I didn't do the inside of all of them with the thermometer. Can go in and do a little just swipe back and forth, and that'll give you a little bit extra room for filling. Can kind of move your tip back and forth. Whoa. I guess I put too much in. That one got 40 in there, so I put a little bit too much. Guess I should have measured it before I did the second squirt. Doing the sugar on the outside does make it messy. They're so soft. The cream definitely stays in better than our jelly. Our jelly is a little bit looser than the gloopy stuff that they normally put in jelly donuts. I'm gonna do one more with the jam, and then I'm gonna do some cream filled ones because those are my favorite. I'm sure my husband's gonna love the jam filled. Looks delicious. I'm gonna make some whipped cream and make some strawberry whipped cream filled donuts. Okay, as you saw there, super easy whipped cream. I found you don't even need to stabilize this. I guess the jam helped in that way, so it doesn't get weepy or anything in your donuts. This will be enough for 6 donuts if you put an ounce in each, but you probably could stretch it to 8. 4 ounces of cream, 2 ounces of jam. Whatever you do, don't stack the jam donuts on top of each other, because all the jam will get squeezed out. Sure you're not bursting out the other side. About an ounce, a little bit more over there. Cream stays in a lot better. It looks so good. See if you can get this view of it. Kind of gotta push while pushing, otherwise it like doesn't go in. Decided to break one of these open. It's definitely a little bit hollow inside because it's super soft. You gotta cut it in order for it to like open up. This one I accidentally poked underneath here, so I don't know how good this one's gonna feel. Probably gonna burst out the bottom here. Yep, try not to stab it too much. Okay, they're all filled, and now I get to try them. I'm excited. So I mentioned a little bit about macros in the beginning, but I'll show you the picture of, I got it from Nutronics website, of a jam-filled donut. So I'll put those up here for you. They're like 33 grams of carbs each. This one is a total of 10 carbs each because we use strawberries, which have a lot of natural sugar in them. But just the donut itself is only 6 grams of total carbs and then 3 grams of fiber, and mine says 3 grams of sugar alcohol. So technically not even 1, but I wouldn't count it as 1 still. But with the jam, 3 grams net carbs. With the cream and jam, 2 grams net carbs. I'm gonna try, hopefully this rips real good and we can get a good cross section without all the jam coming out. Pretty jam filled. You could try adding like xanthan gum or gelatin to it or some other kind of stabilizer if you want a thicker jam. I just tried to go for easy. Just super soft and pillowy and really bread-like. It's so good and messy. Granularly, it does get a little crunch on the outside, which is nice, but that is delicious. I kind of have this notion if the donut's not messy, it's not a very good donut. Cream-filled one. So soft. They're even good on their own. If you want to just dip them in like sugar or cinnamon sugar, that'd be delicious too. It's just so soft. I'm excited to have more of these for sure. So light and airy. They're delicious. I'll cut one real quick for you. I'm excited I finally figured these out. Soft and fluffy keto cream-filled donuts or jam-filled donuts. They're amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe video and you give it a try for yourself. I know frying is kind of a pain in the butt, but I hope with all the tips and information I gave you the confidence to try out this recipe for yourself. They are so delicious and so worth it. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite donuts are. I have a couple on my list still, like the Bavarian cream and a few others. But what is your favorite? Don't forget to check out my Amazon shop page. The link is down in the description box below, along with the blog link to the full recipe. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'll be back with more delicious keto, low carb, healthy meals, desserts, and snack recipes. Bye guys. Happy keto baking or frying.